Hi, this is Ron Kelly, Public Information Officer for the Walton County Commission. The Walton County Board of County Commissioners met in regular session this week to handle the business of the county. Numerous items were passed by general consent of the board. For instance, the board authorized Commission Chair Donna Johns to sign the annual Civil Rights Certification as part of the Section 8 Choice Housing Grant that was requested by HUD. They also authorized the chair to sign a notice of federal interest for the Choctaw Beach Fire Station number 10. In accordance with the conditions of the grant program for the construction of Choctaw Beach Fire Station, the Walton Commissioners are required to notify all relevant parties about the interest shown in the U.S. Department of Defense in the constructed station to protect the federal agency's investment in property that has been improved with federal funds. Commissioners authorized Chair Johns to sign the Career Source Okaloosa Walton annual budget for the program year 25-26. Commissioners also approved signing an order form with Smarsh Incorporated for archiving county cell phone text messages in the amount of $42,399 and approved the purchase of duress alarms for the Defeniak Springs Courthouse and South Walton Annex in an amount not to exceed $15,700. Chair Johns was authorized by the BCC to sign the preliminary rate resolution for the annual Fire Rescue Services assessment. Staff will advertise a public hearing on August 26th to adopt the annual assessment resolution. Commissioners approved a request to de-obligate $339,187 in District 5 recreational plat fees funding for the Boys and Girls Club facilities. Chair Johns signed a resolution to amend the fiscal year 2025 budget in the Fine and Forfeiture Fund for unanticipated revenues in the amount of $161,555. They also authorized CFO Melissa Thomason to sign the engagement letter for Carr, Riggs, and Ingram for the fiscal year 2025 financial auditing services and the required ancillary engagements upon attorney approval. The board approved the satisfaction of ship mortgages for Lizzie M. Harris, Crystal Hardy, Benjamin and Elaine Harrison, and Randall and Pamela Harrison. The engineering department requested approval to award their request for qualifications 25-13 for professional services to the top-ranked firm Chipola Engineering Group for the development of the Walton County Pedestrian Master Plan and to begin contract negotiations. Environmental Services requested approval of the State of Florida Department of Environmental Protection Standard Grant Amendment for the Walton County Vulnerability Assessment, including municipalities. The Tourism Department requested Chair Johns to sign a letter of support for the Regional Rural Development Grant application and financial partnership commitment and support for the annual funding period with Explore Northwest Florida. Tourism Department's beach operations requested direction on the Grady Brown Park restroom reconstruction. The BCC approved of allowing the insurance agency to handle the rebuild of the restroom facility. HR Director Terry Franksman will contact the insurance company regarding a schedule for the rebuilding. Commissioners approved the purchase of a cast aluminum historical tribute sign honoring Major League Baseball player William D. Bill White, an 8-time All-Star who won 7 Gold Gloves as a first baseman for the New York and San Francisco Giants, St. Louis Cardinals, and Philadelphia Phillies. The sign will include associated mounting and finish services in an amount not to exceed $16,217. The sign has been ordered and will be installed at the Paxton Ball Fields by Facilities Maintenance. In consideration of the county's nonprofit funding program and its impact on the budget, Commissioners asked Interim County Administrator Brian Kellenberger and Chief Financial Officer Melissa Thomason to bring back revisions to the policy for consideration. The building department recommended appointing Darrell Miller as a representative for the vacant building contractor seat on the Contractor Competency Board, whose term expires December 31st, 2027. Commissioners authorized the chair to sign a task order with Barge Design Solutions for professional engineering services for a structural assessment of the building located at the corner of East Nelson Avenue and 6th Street in Defuniak Springs, the former Thriftway supermarket building, in an amount not to exceed $10,000. Results will be brought back to the July 22nd BCC meeting. Environmental Services requested approval to allocate $100,000 from the Choctawhatchee Bay Initiative funds to match the Walton County and Army Corps of Engineers Choctawhatchee Bay and River Basin Study project requirements. They also received approval to allocate $30,000 from the Choctawhatchee Bay Estuary Program funds to the Choctawhatchee Basin Alliance Water Quality Program to include Sonde and sensor buoys in the Choctawhatchee Bay. Environmental Services also received approval to submit 2 new projects to the Gulf Consortium for consideration of Restore Pot 3 funds as part of the Choctawhatchee Bay Estuary Program and Water Quality Improvements Program. The Commissioners approved an amendment to the Solid Waste Collection and Disposal Franchise Agreement with Waste Management of Florida regarding the fiscal year 2026 opioid settlement grant program. Commissioners approved allowing the Walton County Health Department to oversee the program with collaboration from the Overdose Prevention Task Force. Acting County Attorney Clay Atkinson led discussion on Senate Bill 180 and how it impacted Walton County ordinances. Commissioners approved suspending enforcement of the affected ordinances. Legal, finance, administration, and planning directors will then meet and present additional information to the board on July 22nd. The same holds true for SB 784. Administration officials will meet with staff to establish future workflow processes. The county will advertise a public hearing concerning the abandonment of a portion of the 20-foot wide platted alley that lies between 2 lots recorded in D.E. Murphy's addition to the town plat of Glendale. The Office of the County Attorney will advertise for July 2nd, 2025. Commissioners approved advertising a public hearing concerning an ordinance of the Walton County Board of County Commissioners adopted under its home rule powers to create new sections related to the position of the Chief Financial Officer and the Office of County Attorney. It will be held July 22nd. Commissioners approved a contract for the purchase of the Alderberry property. The purchasing department will obtain appraisals. There is a 120-day due diligence period in the contract, and legal will reach out to planning regarding any plans, surveys, and studies previously submitted for the property. Commissioners heard an update on Eagle Springs Golf and Recreation Center statistics, including the Bar and Grill update. The second quarter numbers were compared to last year, as well as totals for the first 6 months of this year to the first 6 months of last year. Revenue and attendance is up from last year, and expenditures are down. Commissioner Danny Glidewell asked the board to approve his request to deobligate farmers market funding from the City of Defuniak Springs Farmers Market Project and to direct the funding to the Walton County Agriculture Center project. The board approved. Commissioner Dan Curry recommended obligating $500,000 from Managed Beach Vendor Program revenues to also go to the Agriculture Center project. Commissioner Glidewell motioned to name Clay Atkinson as the permanent county attorney with a supermajority termination clause. Commissioners approved for senior staff members Brian Kellenberger and Melissa Thomason to negotiate an employment contract with Atkinson and bring it back to the board for consideration. Mr. Kellenberger and Ms. Thomason will schedule individual meetings with commissioners to discuss contract terms. Commissioner Glidewell also motioned to name Brian Kellenberger as the permanent county administrator for 9 months with a supermajority termination clause after 9 months. Commissioners approved making Kellenberger the permanent county administrator with a supermajority clause and the option for Brian to go back to beach operations director if he so chooses. This time, Ms. Thomason and Clay Atkinson will negotiate a contract with Kellenberger and bring it back to the board for consideration. Commissioner Donna Johns led a discussion regarding the process for receiving and documenting funds from developers. The Planning Department staff will work toward a more streamlined process. The next regular meeting of the Walton County Commission will be held at 1 p.m. on Tuesday, July 22nd at the South Walton Courthouse Annex on US 331 South, and the public is invited to attend.